there, welcome to our channel. I'm Vic.
I'm Nick.
And we're Envy Board Gaming. And today we're looking at Mercurial. This is a game designed by David Go and published by Good Games Publishing. Nick is going to go through how you play, and then we're going to give our review. This is for 1 to 4 players.
All right, welcome to the table. We are set up for a 2-player game of the game Mercurial by Good Games Publishing. There you have it. We are all set up, 6 in each row. Right there, we have this game. We are mages, and we're doing these heroic types of spell combinations and different kind of stuff with alterations, and we're trying to get essentially the most victory points right there. So we're trying to earn these. We're getting these cards that help us earn different symbols, getting different symbols, mitigating die rolls. And then this is ultimately where we're going to get our values from in order to purchase these cards. So a lot of this is die and die manipulation. We have 2 resources, Acuity and Mana. Acuity is worth technically a half a mana. Right there, the blue is worth the most. So on your turn, you have 2 actions you can take. You can do the take play action, or you can cast. So let's go over the take play action. When you take play, you can do that in either order, but you are going to play a card from your hand if you want, or take a card from out here. Now, since I said either order, you could take a card from here and then it goes in your hand, in which case you can also have that option to play that card that you just took. So that's take and play. You can take cards from here or from here. To take from here, you don't need any requirements. You can just take. If there's any acuity on that card, you're going to go ahead and get that. However, down here, these spells, you do have to pay something. This will show what you have to pay. So in this one, you would have to pay either some combination of mountains and acuity and mana. So when you see these cards on the spell cards, when they have these symbols around the icon, so these mountains, you can see their symbols, that requires die. You got to have those mountain die. Now for the ones up top, you can see that they're not surrounded by that, and they're going to give you an option. You can pay 2 mana so 2 mana or that mountain symbol from a die. And that's for both those 2 spots. And since I said that acuity is worth half mana, technically you could pay 8 acuity instead of 4. That would all replace it. So it all scales like that. Over here you can see there's discounts for mana and acuity. All right, and we all have different players. So this determines a lot of what I have. So I have this sigil here, which we'll get into in a second. I have this many die that I'm going to play with, so 7 for this character. This is how much mana I start with, and this is how much acuity I start with. I have cards that I start with. I have what their special type of ability is, and it is double-sided right there, so I could play on this side and have different abilities too. All right. Now the cards that you're playing, we start with a base set that is indicated right here at the bottom left. So I have these cards. I can play them for their actions over here. I can play them for their action at the bottom left. My choice. Okay? So you can see I can get acuity with this one. That's just the symbol for getting some more acuity. We have a 10 limit on our board, and that is signified right there. And we're essentially going to be getting better combinations of these alteration cards in order to do different things. So let's say I wanted to go, let's say I really wanted a blue. I wanted these blue dice. So I'm going to go ahead and show an example of, let's see if we have some blue here. There we go. That's a good example. I'm just going to replace one of these. There we go. So let's say I really wanted to get that. And maybe I was short a blue. Now, I could overcome that short because I could pay mana, but let's say I didn't want to do that. So I have 2 in my dice pool. This is what I roll. I'm trying to put it on screen here. I have 2, and I really want to get the other one. So I see a card here that will let me do that. I can then transfer this purple, that symbol, to a blue or a mountain, my choice, 1 time. I can do it more than 1 if I have the sigil of that color. I do not. I have the blue, so this one's calling a green. These are multipliers, so I can do it more than once if I have that symbol, but I can only do it once. That's fine. That's all I needed. So let's say I take and I play. So if I play it, I can just do that, and that is my take and my play. This goes to my discard. I will be able to use this later. These will all slide over. These will fill up with acuity, whatever to the left of that card, and these will slide over. And it's the next player's turn. All right, that is take and play for alterations. Now, on my next turn, I can do another take and play. Let's say I want to do a take first. So I'm going to throw the 3 blue that I needed for this card, and this will go into my spell area. These will stay here for now. And in my spell area, I know I have at least 6 points for this card. There are 2 types of scoring for these. There is what's called what they called. I know the red here is ruin, and I think this one's restore. Let me just make sure that the blue, this symbol is restore. Yes, restore versus ruin. So I'll have at least 6 restore points. It's saying I could have up to 8 restore points if I have this symbol either on a card or just left over. That symbol is right there. Okay? Remember, we have an ability, and I showed you that right here, that I can change. If I play one of those cards that has an ability that I can change like this, I can change that type to my banner. My banner type right here is the blue water. So I could use that this card to make it a blue as well if I wanted to by using this action. But what I was really getting at is using this, keeping this is what's going to give this an 8 instead of a 6. So some cards are like that, not all. You can see there are 3 examples on the board currently that have that. They'll be signified with that symbol at the right here, and they'll also be signified because the number is in gold. So this one would give me 8 restore. All right. Now, what I'm going to try to do is get enough restore in order for me to take one of these cards here. The value for ruin is 20 on this one, or restore is 28. So if I can get 28 restore, I can get this card. It will give me 12 points and this color sigil as well. That will help me do different things. In a 2-player game, the game is going to end when 5 of these are taken. So it's just based on the player count. In a 3-player game, 4 of these heroics are taken. In a 3-player, 4 heroics. In a 3-player, 3 heroics. Once those are taken, that will signify that will be the end of the game. So I spend this, I get this. So now I'm going to want to get more, and I do have leftover dice. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do this whole game. This keeps cycling. We keep building up. So there's different cards that do different things. So essentially, you're just getting cards, playing them out to get better spells out there, which add up to a better total, which will get you more points by the end. All right, so I'll just go over some other multipliers briefly. This is saying 3 for every card that's in your spell. So in this case, if I would get this on top of the one I have, it would be 6 because I have 2 cards. So 6, and I would have 14 restore with these 2 cards. Same thing, same concept, except now it's ruin. So the ruin's going to equal that. If it's gold, it'll be double. If it's not, it's only 1 per card. This one links onto other cards, so you can see this link here, and it will give you 3 times the value of that card. So yeah, pretty obvious. If I had this and did not have the ethereal, I will get a 6 times 3, 18 for these 2 cards. There are ways to transfer the ruin to restore, or vice versa. You'll see some cards that do that just transfer over. And that's the gist of the game. You're going to keep going, taking turns, either casting or taking and playing. So let's go over casting real quickly. Let's say my hand looked like, we'll just say, let's get a good example, a nice clean example here. Let's say it looks like that. Let's say these were completed. So they're going to have dice on them or mana on them. They stay on them, locked on until you do this cast action. So I'm going to cast, and these 3 cards I'm casting. So if I had that die left over, this would mean 8. Let's say I did, okay? So this is 8. This is saying So there's 8 restore. This is saying 3 for every card in this, so that'd be 9. So I'm at 17, 9 plus 8. And this is another 7, so we are at 24. 24. And I look at the board, what can I afford? Well, I can afford this one. This one's 20. It will give me 8 points at the end of this game, and I'll have this sigil ongoing. Now, since I paid 4 over this, I look at this and I see that, you know what, I actually get an extra victory point because 4 is the minimum required. So if I did not allocate anything, and I just have 4 left over, if I had 3 left over, I would get nothing. However, I had 4 because I had 24. So I would get this 1 victory point as well and put it on my board. And this will fill back up. Again, I'll get anything that's on these cards as well. But there you go. That's the gist of it. We also have some up here. They have conditions that if you were to be the first to accomplish them, you get these, which will give you points as well. But there you go. Vic and I are going to go back up top and tell you what we think of the game.
All right, and we are back. Thank you, Nick, for the great overview of how you play Mercurial. The overview is mainly meant to intro the game and show you what is involved with it, so you can make a decision if you'll like that kind of thing and add to our reviews. This game was picked up by us at Gen Con, provided to us by Good Games Publishing. So that's a little disclaimer to add it right off the top.
Yeah, we got like 4 from them, and this is the first one we're going to review. We got some playthroughs coming through for the other 2 of the other ones, and we have another review coming in the future for the other one that we picked up.
Yeah. So start off right away with what were your first impressions of the game? Did you have anything that stood out?
The art stands out. When you set it up, you put those cards out. I think the art looks fantastic. Very colorful game. The box doesn't sway you any differently than what you get in the cards. The cards are just as good quality of art.
Mm-hmm.
Really pops. Nice big cards too. The dice are really nice. All that stuff stands out right when you open the box.
Yeah, that was what I thought too. I thought the colors were really nice, and looking at it as it appeared on the table, it looked good with the big size cards. Yeah, do you want to talk about the mechanics of the game?
Okay, yeah. If you've played, let's say, Century Spice Road, this feels like a nerdy version of Century Spice Road,
right.
A fantasy version, if you will, because you're doing that same thing, except now it's dice and not cubes. To me, I like this better than Century Spice Road, but I don't love Century Spice Road either.
Right,
I think it's
exactly,
fine.
yeah.
I think it's fine game. I don't own it anymore. We used to. And I think it's a fine game. This one, I do like it a little better. I like that, first of all, the dice are fantastic, like I said. So I'd rather have those dice and being able to manipulate those dice rather than trying to exchange cubes.
Yeah.
It's just better. It just is. So I do think it borrows from that game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about it. So if you know the mechanics of that, you kind of know the mechanics of this. It's a little bit more roundabout way of getting there than just, the Century Spice Road way where you put a card in and you change cubes. It's a little bit more of a roundabout way, a little heavier, but not too complex either. Right,
because there's dice manipulation. You're going to have dice that you can choose to re-roll by playing cards. You have that extra layer with the spell crafting, mm-hmm. and the puzzle of also converting your dice into different values and trying to get those spells that you craft to ultimately...
Yeah. And there's two types you can go for, ruin or restore, or you can go for a balance if you'd like. If you can balance it, it's even more powerful. We don't tend to do that, but we tend to either go for balance or restore based on what spells are out there. Mm-hmm. But if you can balance it, that'd be awesome too. So yeah, like I said, there's more to it. But if you know that you like Century Spice Road, and you maybe want a little bit more, or maybe you want a better looking theme, better looking cards, better looking components. Except those nice metal coins that are in Century Spice Road. Yeah. Those are nice. Mm-hmm. But other than that, this one is looks nice, looks great, and it plays similar.
Yeah, it's got pretty gems. So I guess that speaks to its table presence. The way that it looks on the table, I think it's pretty good. I think it looks nice. It does take up quite a bit of space, though, in terms of building out the market, but no different than like a large board in the center of your table. Building up, like I call it the market, but where all the cards are laid out.
Yeah. So how do you feel about as far as the time in between, like any downtime? Do you feel like it goes smooth?
I think it's fairly smooth. There's a little bit of downtime as somebody resolves and makes choices and maybe things change for them where they didn't maybe make do the best effort in planning their turn. And then they look at what they've got, and a card disappears, from somebody else taking it. Now they have to change maybe the game plan. So I think it can take a little bit of time for somebody to assess what they're going to do, because there is so many. You don't want to be redundant and like spend a card and then undo and do the same thing back. Take the dice back to another element. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't feel like there was much downtime, but maybe I was want to do the downtime then. Well, note that we've only played this solo and 2 players. Haven't played it at the 3 and 4 player count. Don't see why you really would. I think I'm good at 2 players. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it at 4, but I feel like I might play best at 2. I just think that it's just a quick game. You don't really need to add more people to it. You're just trying to get done as quick as possible, because it's just a quick action game. Really, you can either take and play, or you can cast.
Right.
So downtime for me, I thought was fun. And what about the game itself? How long did the game itself take? Did you feel like it overstayed its welcome? Do you feel like it was too short, too long?
I think it was just about right. What do you think?
I think so. With 2 players, there's 5 heroics. I felt like that lasted perfectly. I can't speak for the scaling of 3 and 4, obviously, because I just said I've only played it at 1 or 2. So, is there any fiddliness to you? I'm trying to think if there's much fiddliness. Given all the symbology, maybe. There is a bit of symbology in this one.
Yeah, because there's distinctions on the player reference card about what the certain card style icons are, and it's all laid out there, though. The reference is there, so I think that combats some of the fiddliness, is that you can reference it, but you sometimes have to take a second and make sure your eyes are looking at all the things that you can do. Because, you know what I mean? Like, between what's on your player board, what are the card options that are out there that you might want to, as your take action, take, and then little cards you have in your hand, not to forget about those,
Yeah, I would say that if we're going to go through some negatives here, that the icons would be a little bit of a negative. It's just like, there's something about it. There's something about the icons, the way that it was done. It does seem to pull me out of it a little bit, but not a terrible negative. Another negative I'll give is at the beginning. There are, especially at the beginning, but it can happen during the game too, later in the game, where the cards available out there, the heroics, are maybe not attainable. Maybe you made an error, or maybe you just didn't get the right spells and had enough dice to do, or you spent too many dice, or didn't have enough mana. Whatever the case may be. That you did not quite reach any threshold for any of the heroics. Well, that's kind of lackluster, because now you're just taking victory points. So you lose the sigil. You don't get the sigil. You get less victory points, and you not wasted, but you got docked. Yeah, you got docked pretty nicely for not achieving one of the heroics, and that could sting a little bit. I would say.
I know what that's like.
Yeah, I didn't suffer that, but I know what it's like. I have done that before, where you're just going to get the heroics. So if you're not getting heroics, you're going to probably be a little about the game. But when you are getting the heroics back to back, or in a good string, you have a nice little engine of magic cards, of spell cards, then you're going to like the game a lot more. What do you think? What do we have for negatives? Anything?
I guess to some folks, maybe the theme won't appeal to them if they don't like that kind of theme. But for me, it's hard to really pinpoint too many negatives. It is a lot of the same thing that you're doing, right? You're going to roll the dice, and you're going to go through the motions again, and spending your dice. And I guess it's good that you have different things to use the dice for, or allocate them to, but you can feel that you're doing the same thing.
So do you feel the replayability is low?
No, not fully. But I think that it could. I don't know how many games of it I would play.
Okay, but for somebody that likes the game, it's probably decently replayable. You're rolling the dice. You're mitigating dice all the time. There's going to be different alteration cards. It's not like the same 6 out there. They rotate the whole entire game.
That is true. Yeah.
So you're going to have a whole new deck of cards that you want to play with different actions and different manipulations of the dice. So if you like the system of Splendor, I recommend it. It's a good one, and like I said, I think it's a little for me a little bit more enjoyable than Splendor. I like the dice manipulation in this game, and I don't always like games with dice manipulation. I really don't care sometimes. Like games that people love, like Role Player, I'm indifferent to them.
Right.
And this one, I actually really didn't like it. I like this dice manipulation. So I think we got some pros and cons there. You have anything else you want to add, or you want to go to scores?
I think we can do the scores.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So my score for this one is a 7.2. I wasn't crazy about Century Spice Road like Nick was. I didn't think it was amazing of a game. 7.2 I think is how I feel about this game. I would play it if Nick wanted to play it. I think it's got an easy enough rule set to pick up. It's good in between games for us if we're, it's not going to be the main event for our night maybe, but yeah, that's how I feel.
I think we'll give it another play at 3 and 4. Maybe Tim and Alyssa will play with us or something, and try to see how it feels at for a higher player count. But as a 2-player game and a solo game, we've had it, and I'm gonna give it 7-8. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the game. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, so 7-8. I enjoyed my plays of it. I like the 2-player more than the solo, but that's the case with most games. So 7-8, 7-2, not too shabby.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please click the thumbs up, and subscribe for more great reviews. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.